Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.
What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Get out there, play hard, enjoy those games.
Welcome in, everybody. I don't know what to say, youngster. I was going to say I am a real, you know what I can? This is go big. I'm a pissed off old man today. But how are you, youngster? We got a great show. I had to change the intro. Like, I'm listening to it, and then I was thinking, oh, my God, we're on the radio. I can't say that. And I'm thinking, no, we're on the podcast. I can say it. I am a pissed off old man today, and you know why. But how are you doing?
Some shows, Troy, some radio shows. I know radio stations are different depending on, where it is, who owns it, da-da-da-da-da. I mean, some of them will straight up curse. I mean, so I don't know. And anyway, this show, we can say whatever.
Well, we are careful. You know what, youngster? We are careful. We work on a number of radio stations. We do podcasts. We've had communication with certain radio stations about our sponsor, Interpeak Coffee. Some of the nonprofits, we can't send them to the website. They get fined. We try to adhere to all FCC rules. So, with that said, this is a podcast. Make sure you go check out our great sponsor, Interpeak Coffee at interpeakcoffee.com. Free shipping to your door. They are bringing you the virtual studio line today. Youngster, I do say that, and people are going to be like, holy cow, old man's worked up already, and I'm worked up. Because if you listened last week, folks, I was in a car altercation where my car was totally sideswiped by a young teenager, and it was deemed a total loss. And then I found out I have limits on my gap insurance. My Blue Book value is in the pooper, and I owe now money on the loan. And I have no trade-in to go buy a new car, which therefore means I need a down payment, which really sucks. So, this is what I get out of today, youngster. A couple weeks ago, I get done with work, I'm going home, I get hit, and I get screwed in the you-know-what.
Right.
Not happy. Carry on.
Doesn't make sense. It's very stupid. Some things in life just straight up don't make sense. You get hit with a car, you end up having to pay, buy your way into a new car. Somebody, I won't go down other routes, especially with the presidency and everything that's going on.
Yeah, we're no politics on the show. None.
No.
None.
The only time
we're not even talking about it.
No, the only time we talk politics on the show is when it directly correlates with sports. If President Trump talks about Drew Brees and says that the New Orleans Saints have to cut him because of it, sure, we'll bring it up if that were to happen. Otherwise, we don't,
Black Lives Matter, the NBA, when that happened, we bring up politics then. But as far as this presidential election, you already know my stance, youngster. I put some tweets on it. If you want to see them, folks, find me on LinkedIn, find me on Twitter, find me on Facebook. I will say this. The election came. Biden on Saturday around 11 a.m. I'm promoting the show, and I just saw social media. And, again, I'm not going either way on this. We're not going to talk about our opinions. But at 11 a.m. Central Time, when it was declared that it looked like Biden was going to be the next president, social media blew up as I was promoting our show. And I'm not even mad because they're like, oh, you're just mad because you couldn't get your show promoted. No, I was reading stuff from both sides, Biden camp, Trump camp, and I just shook my head. That's all I said, youngster. But we got a great show, Big Ten football. Time to move into that quickly because what a weekend. Again, I will tell you this, youngster. As long as we had to wait for this Big Ten season, this is quite amazing. I know my Badgers haven't played in 2 weeks, but, man, this is just awesome. This Big Ten season is awesome. I'm loving it. I wish my Badgers could play, but with COVID they can't. We may talk about it today. Well, wherever you want to start, youngster, I mean, this is great. What is this? Is this year 5, Big Ten football, or year 4?
Year 5. Year 5.
So we're going. So when Big Ten basketball starts, it'll be year 6. Big Ten basketball, really?
Maybe you're right. Maybe this is year 4 of football. Because I remember last year we were saying, like, oh, Cassius Winston was a freshman, now he's a senior. We saw him all the way through. So, yeah, this must be the 4th.
No, it could be
football.
6. Oh, no, I'm going to have to go back and look at our first show. I got it in the archive somewhere.
I want to say, because of that, I want to say this is 4th football, 5th basketball is coming up, I believe.
Whew.
I think that makes
sense.
Anyway. Yeah, this Big Ten season, I mean, again, we're on the podcast. We're on the grillingtruth.com. Thank you for hosting our show, obviously. It's been a hell of a Big Ten season. I mean, it has. I was with you in the sense that more talented teams should probably win. Nope,
not happening.
Coaching and quarterback play, and that'll matter with no real off season. But I mean, you're seeing Maryland one week lose by 40 to Northwestern, and then the next week they go out and they just punish Penn State. They're up 28-7 at halftime. They're up 35-7 going into the fourth quarter. It's like
Thank you, Lord, for letting me live in Wisconsin so I can't bet on Sportsbook DraftKings. That's all I have to say, youngster, about last weekend in the Big Ten, because I would have been screwed.
I was just going to say, we do our locks of the week every week. For those listeners, maybe this is your first time listening to the show, we do our Big Ten locks of the week each week for college football. 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago we were really good, and then maybe it was 3 years ago.
3 years ago we were really good.
3 years ago. That's right. Yes. 3 years ago we were good. Last 2 years we've been bad.
And then last year we remember because we won one last year, like in week 3, and we were all excited because we were ready to just end the locks of the week. We're like, we suck at this. Get rid of it.
Yeah,
we're no good.
Yeah, they were terrible. This year, the first 2 weeks we bet on Penn State both weeks. We lost both weeks. Week 3 we didn't have a lock.
Nope, didn't have a lock.
Do that. Right, we don't have to have a lock. But overall, like if you're betting Big Ten football this year, I would just say stop, because you have no idea what is going to happen on any given Saturday. Indiana.
Even Ohio State, youngster. You look at that game, because what was it, 30-some points?
That's why you don't ever.
And Rutgers covered. Rutgers covered
that's why you don't.
Spread.
Ohio State was up 35-3 at halftime. If they wanted to win by 70, they could have won by 70. But that's why you never bet those.
But that's what we talked about on the show last week. And that's why we're like, you know what, Ohio State could cover this spread, but they're probably not going to, because they're going to put their foot on the pedal, they're going to get a big lead, and then the second teamers are going to come in, and Rutgers is going to score points. Yeah. And that's what happened. I mean, we could have said, okay, we're going to take Rutgers in the point, but then again, you don't know if Rutgers can do it. I mean, it's just one of those things. But holy cow. Yeah. All right,
anyway,
let's go. Let's start recapping.
Well, before we recap, I wanted to say this. If my computer has been very shaky since I've gotten home. AP Top 25 very quickly. Ohio State's 3.
I got to go through this again.
Very, very shortly, Troy. Indiana is number 10 in the country. That's the first time, and I would have to look up. Last time Indiana was ranked in the top 10. Wisconsin has fallen just because they haven't played. Teams behind them are winning.
They're going to keep falling.
They're
going to keep falling unless they play.
Supposedly, this coming week, they're supposed to. That's as of a couple hours ago. Wisconsin's athletic department, I believe, said, we plan on playing. I think 5 of the last 6 days, they haven't had any positives. I think they're down to like 5 in total now. I know there were like 20 plus at one point.
And now Michigan will come up positive.
Yeah, right. But so anyway, So Wisconsin's 13 and Northwestern's 23. That's it for the Big Ten. But
so I got to say this though, youngster. Northwestern atop the Big Ten West, right?
Yes, they are.
And Wisconsin is third place right now due to wins, right?
Third, yeah. Right.
Technically third, and they're ranked 13th. That is good. That is good respect for Wisconsin. 2 games, no contest, 1-0, ranked 13th. Is there anybody around them that has only played 1 game, youngster?
Let me take a look. Yes, actually, Oregon is ranked 11th. They're 1-0.
All right. So Oregon, Wisconsin in the same type class, and to be honest, I'm okay with that. Oregon's a good program. But I think the voters, I really believe this, youngster, 2 no contests in a row. That Graham Mertz performance in week 1 still stuck in voters' minds because Graham Mertz is the quarterback of the Badgers. And the kid looked good against a team that's average to below average. But the voters are thinking, okay, no contest, COVID, give them the benefit of the doubt. Graham Mertz will be back. Yeah. Graham Mertz is a really good quarterback. I look at it, they've played 1 game. Are they a 13, a top 10? Yes, they are. They deserve to be where they're at. But I thought they would tumble a lot farther not playing. They haven't played.
That doesn't surprise me. I don't remember what Ohio State started at. But I guess you don't know. You never know going into a season how good or bad a team's going to be. But you have a decent idea as to what Ohio State's going to be. You have a decent idea of what Wisconsin's going to be. It doesn't surprise me. I would have bashed voters if they were, throwing Wisconsin down in the 20s just because they're not playing. That'd be stupid.
I wouldn't have. But I really wouldn't have, youngster. I mean, and to be honest, I'm going to say this as a Badger fan because now we're really in a pickle. We're in a huge pickle. You got Northwestern and Purdue ahead of Wisconsin at 3-0, right? Wisconsin-Purdue game are 2-0. Wisconsin-Purdue were canceled. There is no makeup date that is available in the Big Ten. Right. I hate to say this as a Badger fan. If Wisconsin was the one that had to have the game canceled, you've got to have even games at the end of the year because I see a problem right now. Because you look at what's coming up for Wisconsin. We talked about this. And with Graham Mertz, he's going to be coming off COVID. They play Michigan next. Can they beat Michigan? Yeah. What happens if there's a tie in losses, same amount of losses, but the Badgers don't have enough wins, or vice versa? The Badgers have no losses but missed 2 games, and Purdue's sitting there with 1 loss, and Northwestern has 1 loss. I hate to say this, but in the COVID year, it was the rule, it was the COVID, you say no contest. I almost think that it should have been 2 forfeits, youngster. I hate to say it. And people will think I'm crazy, but I think we're going to have a big pickle at the end of the year now that Wisconsin, which is normally a dominant team in the Big Ten West, has missed 2 games. They've missed 2.
Right.
So if they go undefeated, that puts them at, 6-0.
Right. Yeah. I think at this point, if you're Wisconsin, you're hoping someone else in your division loses. You have to straight up at this point, it seems like, unless there are other cancellations that are going to be had later in the season, you have to straight up have the better record in the loss column because you're not going to, win any tiebreakers. They straight up have to, in my opinion, it's probably, I don't know. I don't know if I expect Northwestern and Purdue to go 7-1, 6-1. To me, honestly, I think Wisconsin could lose 1 and still win the Big Ten West. That's just me. I think Northwestern and Purdue lose 2, but that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Nobody's handicapping this Big Ten season perfectly, other than saying Ohio State's really good. That's kind of all we have been correct on, and Illinois is not great. So, anyway, regardless. Speaking of Wisconsin, let me see here. Just a couple hours ago, Paul Christ updated Graham Mertz's status, just asked if he'd be available against Michigan. Graham, the way that his timing out, he's starting the process of coming back.
The 21st day should be Saturday, the game of Michigan.
Yeah. Remains unclear if he'll start. We're doing this show on Monday, by the way. We're, 5 games out here. There goes my computer again, lagging its way out. But yeah, so as of now, as of Monday anyway, that's when we're recording the show, November 9th. It's unclear, I guess, if Mertz can come back. I don't know the timetable. You say 21 days, Troy puts it right at Saturday. I don't know if that comes down to the hour. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a little shady. I don't want to say shady. It's been a little gray. It's been a little unclear as to when it was declared that Graham Mertz had COVID and when that actually goes into effect. I've been trying to figure it out because you and I talked about it 2 weeks ago. Would you activate Graham Mertz and play him against Michigan with no practice for 3 weeks?
Oh, absolutely.
And you say absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's the thing. When did the COVID go into effect? When did this rule go into effect? Can you activate him? Can you activate him at 11:05 Central Time for a 12 o'clock game and have him suit up? And like you said, if I'm going to have my 4th stringer starting against Michigan, I'll take Graham Mertz without 3 weeks of practice any day, anytime.
Right. Yeah, just pure natural talent. Yeah, I would do the same. My computer's going nuts if I have to revert to my phone as far as looking up. Oh, here we go. Okay, anyway, if I have to go to my phone, then so be it. But anywho, recapping action finally. We can start with the last game. Ohio State against Rutgers. Again, Ohio State was up 35-3. I'm not going to have much else on this game. They were up 35-3 at halftime. They won the game by 22 because Rutgers, outscored Ohio State. What was it, 24-14 in the second half? But obviously too little too late. And I didn't get to see the game because I was working during it. But, I'm assuming Ohio State let their foot off the gas there in that one. You got anything there, Troy?
What do you want me to say on that? I mean, what's there to say?
No, right.
I'm surprised. Yeah. I mean, you look at it and you're like, okay, I'm an Ohio State fan. Oh, my God, you gave it 27 points to Rutgers. Oh, okay, well, whatever.
No, yeah, that's, at that point, they were up 35-3, so it's not going to crush the defense.
Yeah, it's not like all of a sudden you were losing to Rutgers 27-23 and then you scored or 27-23 and you scored 21 points. You were up 35-3. You probably had some third stringers in there. So it is what it is. I have nothing else. Carry on.
Yeah, Justin Fields was dominant. He had 5 touchdowns in the game. That's not shocking. So, anywho, moving on from that one, what is next here? Indiana, Michigan. This game again, I was working throughout Saturday, so that was terrible timing wise for me in Big Ten football. But Indiana, Michigan, I've done my homework on these games. But Indiana, Michigan, from what I heard, from what I've read, Indiana straight up controlled the game. If you look at the box score, you look at some key stats. Indiana was up 24-7 at half, so I believe it. Joe Milton, I heard this on the radio, I believe. Joe Milton, he was able to throw the ball for Michigan over 300 yards passing. And I look more into the stats, and it's like, yeah, he had 340 yards passing. He also had 2 interceptions. He also barely completed over 50% of his balls. So he didn't play great football. Again, they only scored 7 points in the first half. They were down 24-7. At the end of the day, here's a huge telling stat to me, is Indiana had 50 pass attempts. They had 38 carries as a team. That's 88 plays. Michigan had 34 pass attempts, 18 carries. That's 52 plays. 52 compared to 88. that shows me Indiana was controlling the game offensively, doing whatever they wanted to do. Michigan wasn't able to stop them on third down. That's what that says to me. The only other individual stat that raised an eyebrow for me, Michigan's top running back, 6 carries, 19 yards. I mean, their identity this year realistically has to be running the football first. They've got a number of good ones, good running backs. And, again, 6 carries, 19 yards was their top running back. He had a long of 11 yards, a.k.a. he had 5 carries go for 8 yards. So that was it. They were not able to run the ball, and Joe Milton was throwing a couple picks, completing half his passes. Indiana just straight up showed they were better. And I said coming into this year I expected Indiana to win this game. And Michigan, they looked good week 1 against Minnesota, and Minnesota was struggling then. Since then, they lost to Michigan State, who lost to Rutgers, and now they just got clearly handled by Indiana. So of course, the rumblings of Jim Harbaugh and this and that are out there. Can he return to the pros with a number of bad
I wonder if
teams?
Jim Harbaugh would look good in green and white.
That's one of the rumors. Unless you're talking about Michigan State. I was thinking you were talking about the Jets.
That would be Jim Harbaugh. They take care of Michigan. Why would they want to bring the guy over that they can take care of? No. It's one of these things, youngster. You watch this Michigan team and you take the roster. You just take Indiana versus Michigan. And again, so here goes to my point. Michigan 4 stars, Michigan 5 stars, Indiana 2 stars, Indiana 3 stars. Who won the game? I don't give a crap. And we talk about it every year. We have for many years. 5-star, 4-star. Here's your recruiting class. Do you fit in the system? Are you going to fit in the system to play? And Indiana's a good ball club. I look at it. It's one of these things. You look at the Green Bay Packers from 2 years ago. They won 5-11 or 5-10-1, 6-9-1. McCarthy, the message was stale. I think the message with Harbaugh is stale. I really do. I think it's time to move on. I really do. I'm not saying fire him. I'm just saying you look at the best interest of both parties, Michigan University and Jim Harbaugh. Time to move on. It's done. It's over. And for our show, move on.
He's got 1 year left on his deal. I don't know. We've got, on the handful of games left, but not looking good at this point. Indiana's 3-0, ranked 10 in the country. That's so far I've been right on that. Although I didn't think, again, that they would beat Penn State. So that being said, I didn't think Maryland would beat Penn State either. And Maryland won that game 35-19. They were up 28-7 at halftime. Like I said before, kind of to start the show, that if you're betting Big Ten football, you should stop. Unless you're foreseeing all these games happen in which they're happening, which I highly doubt it. I mean, there's teams that look god-awful one week, and then they just destroy a better team with more talent the next week. Iowa looks like crap all year. Michigan State looks actually good last week, and then Iowa wins by 42 points. Maryland looks like garbage, and then the next week they pull out a win, and then the next week they bury Penn State. I mean, it's just completely bipolar, some of these teams, through 3 weeks in the season. It's been very interesting. But Maryland, Penn State, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, if you score 7 points against Maryland in the first 3 quarters, we talked about, and this was the expectation last year coming into this year, was Penn State's offense was going to be fantastic, and it was supposed to. And they lost their top 2 running backs due to injury, basically. Sean Clifford, he's got Pat Freiermuth, who's a really good tight end. Dotson's a really talented guy outside as a receiver, but things just haven't really clicked. The running game has not been Penn State's running game as of the last 3 or so years. So it's all on Clifford. And defensively, I mean, if you're giving up 35 points, 28 points to Maryland at half, 35 the first 3 quarters, that's all they ended up with. But the talent for Maryland is starting to show with Tua's brother at quarterback. He's put together 2 straight good games after the week 1 embarrassment. So he's doing things. The running game was solid. Their 5-star freshman receiver, you talked about, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, doesn't matter. Again, I agree with you to an extent. Depth-wise, I think it ends up making a difference depth-wise. Just because you have a 5-star doesn't mean anything. Just because you're a 2-star doesn't mean anything. But if you have 34 or 5 stars, you accumulate depth. It helps you Band-Aid some issues potentially, especially in a COVID type year. Anyway, their 5-star receiver, just notably, 5 catches, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, he obviously has talent. To his brother Talia, obviously has talent, and it's come through these last 2 weeks. So week 1, Maryland was terrible. They got killed by Northwestern. Since then, they're 2-0. So again, another bipolar team in the Big Ten. But what do you have on this one, Troy?
No, you broke that one down pretty good. What do you want me to say? Penn State sucks?
They're 0-3. So far, they suck.
Well, I mean, was it the great Bill Parcells that said you are what your record says?
Yeah.
You're 0-3. You lost to Maryland. I mean, I've been a disheartened Badger fan many times. Many, many times. Penn State's 0-3, youngster, 0-3. They're not coming back from 0-3 in the COVID-shortened year.
No.
What are they going to end up? 3rd place in the division, maybe?
Hopefully.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in last place. Rutgers University has more wins than the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Through 3 weeks.
3 weeks into the season.
Yeah.
That has never happened before because Rutgers has never had more than 1 win in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to say this, you want to say that. I look at it, and I can look at weeks 1 and 2 for Penn State and say, okay, you got screwed on a call, right? You got screwed on a call, and I don't say that because you know me. There's many other plays in that game that you could have won the game. Fine, right. I'll even side on this. I'll go against what I normally say just to be that guy. You got screwed in week 1. You had Ohio State in week 2. Okay, you're 0-2. Right. How the hell do you lose to Maryland? How?
Right. That's the thing. The first 2 weeks, I get it.
You want to go back and you want to tell me Penn State is 1-2, and they got screwed against Indiana. Fine, they should be 2-1. They got outplayed by Ohio State. This team is just not good. That's all I got.
Yeah. Yeah, again, the first 2 weeks, I get it. You outplayed Indiana. You ended up losing, giving up a couple 8-point scores at the end of the game. That's, sometimes that happens. Sometimes it goes in your favor. Sometimes it doesn't. That happens, once every couple years.
Well, and that's what I was saying, youngster. I was giving in. Like, I'm not going to hold my ground where I always say one play does not determine the outcome of the game. You just brought it up. They gave up this. They gave up this. I conceded that, saying, okay, if I'm a Penn State person and I'm a fan, we got screwed in week 1. Fine, you got screwed. Right. Then you got outplayed by Ohio State. Now you got outplayed by Maryland.
Right. That's the
like
issue.
Really outplayed by Maryland. Like it wasn't a one-possession game.
No. It wasn't even a one-possession game in the first quarter.
No, it wasn't.
So, anyway.
Which I find it really hard because last week I said we're going over the spreads. I'm like, Penn State's going to be pissed. They lost to Ohio State. They got screwed in week 1 again.
Right.
I'm going on the verge of a fan. I don't know. Has the team just waved the white flag in the COVID season? Seems like it. Because that was not, when I watched that Ohio State-Penn State game, the little bit I watched and then I turned it off because it wasn't interesting, that was not the same intensity of Penn State football that I've seen in the years past. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Moving on. We'll talk about Penn State later when we preview Week 4. Northwestern, Nebraska. Northwestern won this game 21-13. Northwestern's 3-0. Nebraska's 0-2. Northwestern and Peyton Ramsey, Indiana's transfer quarterback, he is paid off to this point. Adrian Martinez, Nebraska's quarterback, he had 100 yards rushing. However, he also got benched in this game. And that's, I mean, going into last season, Scott Frost was quoted as saying, I would take Adrian Martinez over every other quarterback in the country. This is my guy, and I know that's your coach, that's his quarterback. Of course he's going to say something like that. At the same time, you don't hear every single coach say something like that about their quarterback. And I truly believe him in the sense that, like, I know this guy.
Unless it's a franchise guy. The only time you hear that is in the NFL when you're trying to build up the confidence of someone.
Yeah. So I believed, not just Scott Frost, but I believed in Adrian Martinez. I thought he was going to be fantastic in college. He showed such his freshman year. But he was not good a year ago, and this year, now, Game 3, he's getting benched. They did not score a point in the second half. Northwestern's defense has proven to be pretty good this year, so that's just a fact through 3 weeks of the season. But, I mean, at Nebraska at this point, this was supposed to be your guy. This was supposed to be the guy that, okay, Scott Frost, year 2, year 3, he, truly turns things around, just look in the past. And here we are, year 3, and Nebraska's 0-2, and supposedly they have their guy at quarterback, and they've got skill guys as well offensively, and they're scoring no points in the second half against Northwestern. They're scoring 13 in total. You're benching your, star quarterback for 3-4 years, supposedly. So things are not going well offensively. And, I mean, there were quotes last year. We talked about it on the show. Scott Frost and his defense, like, oh, just give up, 30 and we'll be fine. I mean, basically throwing his defense under the bus, saying the offense can save the day, essentially, paraphrasing. But, so I don't know. Nebraska is at a loss from my perspective at this point, because you don't even know necessarily who your starting quarterback is. They've got some skill guys offensively, but that's it. Defense isn't good. You don't know who your quarterback is. Nebraska is truly a mess. It's one thing to not live up to expectations a year ago, but at this point now they're truly a mess. Like it's a serious problem.
So, youngster, can I butt in here?
Sure. Go ahead.
And do you remember last year when we in the beginning of the year and everybody had Nebraska? What, they had Nebraska top 10, top 15?
Pretty high, yeah.
Because Scott Frost was the savior because of what he did in Florida, right?
Right.
And I believe that I said, you got to give this guy a little bit of time. I'm not going to anoint him, and I'm not Nebraska as this great program. Yeah, he turned around a program in Florida, but now you're coming to the Big Ten. You're literally coming to the Big Ten, and you and I have, how should I put it? We have anointed the Big Ten the best conference in college football. We have done that. Top to bottom, competitive nature every week. This is not an easy conference to come in and be a juggernaut. You have one juggernaut in this conference, Ohio State. You got my Wisconsin Badgers, a really good program.
Yeah.
You got Michigan. Harbaugh, we just talked about it, going down a little bit. You got Indiana rising. You've got, Purdue's undefeated. Northwestern has every other year, it seems like. Iowa every 3 or 4 years with Kirk Ferentz. You've got teams that can win every week. And I think that by Scott Frost becoming the coach at Nebraska, the expectations were set in cloud 9 when you were a doormat in the Big Ten. What did you expect? And now you've got high expectations. They're not meeting expectations. Now everything is Scott Frost's our fault. It should, when there's a rebuild going on, look at Rutgers, for example, Kevin. Chaparro's over there, right? He's there. He's there, right? He's going to do his thing. He's got a big win already. They could lose the rest of their games this year. Still going to be progress, right?
Yeah.
Nebraska wants to win now, but the problem is they lost the program for how many years? They bring in a good coach. I don't get it. These fans are driving me crazy. I think Frost is a good coach. Yeah. But I think all of a sudden this program now has succumbed to expectations, and they're not meeting them. That's all I got.
Yeah, I think they started putting Michigan expectations, and Nebraska wasn't at Michigan's level at that point. They were under that point. And so Michigan brings in Jim Harbaugh, and it's like, okay, let's start beating Ohio State fairly consistently. Let's start winning the Big Ten fairly consistently. And they just haven't gotten over that hump. It's just they haven't. And Nebraska is like.
So in comparison, though, Kevin, you look at that Harbaugh going to Michigan and what they wanted. I don't think that is an unfair expectation to want to beat Ohio State every year.
No.
Because that's where Michigan football was. But for Nebraska to put those expectations on Frost to be a Big Ten contender every year,
right?
That is unrealistic. And yeah, you have a really good quarterback.
It's not the 1990s.
Let's throw this out there. You have a good quarterback who had some off the field issues that we talked about very little on this show. Very little, because they all got brushed under the rug. If you remember 2 years ago.
Yeah, I do. I do.
All right, we can move on.
Yeah, Iowa, Michigan State. Iowa won this game 49-7. They were up 35-0 at halftime. I mean, Michigan State, week 1, terrible. Week 2, beat Michigan. Wow, fantastic. Week 3, lose by 40. I mean, again, there's no reason to be betting Big Ten football. You would assume.
But if you're a Michigan State fan, youngster, if you're a Michigan State fan with this new coaching regime, you beat Michigan.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You beat Michigan. So, again, college football is all about the rivalry game, right? You beat Michigan. So what are they going to hang their hat on this year? Yeah, we're 1-7 in the Big Ten. We're in last place, and we're playing in the last place game at the end of the year. But guess what? Our one win was against Michigan. Goodbye, Jim Harbaugh. We're going to hire D'Antonio back. Boom! We beat Michigan. I mean, that's the way college athletics is. Yeah, Michigan State is not a good program. We'll talk more about that later. What else you got?
No, a few years ago they were, but last couple have been no, and this year so far has been a no. Only notable thing really, Tyler Goodson, Iowa's running back, averaged over 8 yards a carry, a couple scores. Rocky Lombardi, Michigan State's quarterback, was bad. Less than 50% completion, 3 interceptions. That'll obviously kill you. So Iowa just handled them. I mean, I feel bad for Mel Tucker. I feel bad for him. He took over a program in disarray. At least nobody's going in the transfer portal. That's all we can say. That's true. That is true. Moving on, last game here since Wisconsin-Purdue was canceled. Minnesota, Illinois. Minnesota won this game 41-14. Again, Illinois was without their quarterback coming into this game in Peters because of COVID. So Karan Taylor got the start, 6 of 17. That's all I have to say. Illinois' quarterback went 6 of 17. He's the backup. The running back, Mike Epstein, he's stayed healthy. 11 carries, 108 yards, touchdown. Yeah, I played Epstein in DraftKings college football, youngster. But Lovey's got to he's got to recruit a quarterback. I mean, we talked about Lovey Smith, and last year was the year that he was going to get fired if he didn't get Illinois to a bowl game, and Illinois went to a bowl game. And now they started off this year. Okay, you started off against Wisconsin. Graham Mertz had a great year.
They're at the bottom of the Big Ten West, and they're not probably going to climb out. I know Ramsey's not in, so Ramsey comes back. What do they go, 4-3? 5-3?
No.
Can they win 5 in a row? They're not winning 5 in a row.
No. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, having a quarterback out for a few games obviously can kill you. Brandon Peters has won games in the Big Ten at Michigan. He's, a quality quarterback.
No, he's a good quarterback. Lovey needs to go get a quarterback youngster because it's apparent. It's kind of like when Rodgers went out with the Packers. You're going to put your backup in, you're not going to win.
Right.
So it comes down to Lovey Smith at Illinois going out and recruiting and getting. It doesn't have to be a 5-star quarterback. I mean, Wisconsin wins without 5 stars, but go get a 4-star, go get a 3-star, and get a good quality backup. The guy they got filling in for Ramsey sucks. Literally. He's not going to win a game if Ramsey keeps staying out. How long is Ramsey out?
Brandon Peters.
Or Peters, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. There's a couple Big Ten inter-conference transfers among quarterbacks. I've gotten it mixed up in my head as well. So you're definitely not the only one. But yeah, Illinois needs a long-term quarterback. Case closed. One stat I want to read: Minnesota. Well, I guess 2. Rashad Bateman on the outside, future NFL receiver, 10 catches, 139 yards, a touchdown. He's, again, going to be an NFL receiver. But Mohamed Ibrahim is leading the Big Ten in rushing. This game he had 30 carries, 224 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Guess what his DraftKings value is, youngster? Guess what Ibrahim's value is? Guess what his salary is in college football DraftKings?
Coming into this week, I'm sure it was high, not crazy high. I'm sure it just skyrocketed now for next week.
So you're a casual DraftKings guy, right? So you got $50,000 to fill out a roster, right? Quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers. In college, you get that 3rd wide receiver and a flex and a super flex. Mm-hmm. So you have 6 positions, $50,000 to spend in DraftKings dollars, right? Ibrahim, $10,000. $10,000.
As he should.
I played him in every single one of my DraftKings leagues.
I'm sure you did well.
No, I didn't, because I had to go and I had to find guys that were $3,500.
Well.
No, I didn't do well. $10,000. No. Next week he's probably going to be like 11.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 220 yards on the ground and 4 touchdowns. I mean, you can't do much better than that. So, anyway, Minnesota got their first win. Congratulations there. Moving on to next week here. Let me get my computer rolling here. I did a poor job before the show to get too prepared for next week. Friday night football. Iowa, Minnesota. It's Iowa at Minnesota, Friday, November 13th. Again, we're recording the show on Monday, November 9th. If any, COVID changes, transfer portal, whatever, don't blame us too hard because, again, we're recording on Monday, November 9th. By the way, this show is brought to you via the Inner Peak Coffee virtual studio line. And if you like coffee whatsoever, I know the holidays are coming up. If you're thinking of Christmas gifts, if you know someone who enjoys coffee, just wants a mug, whatever, visit innerpeakcoffee.com. Free shipping on everything. So definitely check out innerpeakcoffee.com.
Yeah, and the youngster and I have a bag of Inner Peak Coffee on the line for NFL fantasy football.
Yes, we do.
Which could be debated, like the presidential election at the end of 17 weeks.
That is true. Yeah.
Based on points or average per game. It could very well, because it is 2 different scenarios when you look at overall points and points per game. That's all I'm going to say. It could be a draw.
Fair. Friday, November 13th, Iowa at Minnesota. Troy, both teams 1-2. Both teams just got their first win. Who is favored? How many points?
Where's the game at? Sorry, I got all excited.
All good. Iowa at Minnesota.
Oh, boy. Gopher fans are probably saying, old man, shut up. Old man, shut up. At Minnesota.
Ibrahim has 10 rushing touchdowns this year. I'm just looking
unbelievable. I told you, $10,000 in DraftKings.
I'm looking through the leading rushers for every team, Troy, going into these 7 games here. Haskins for Michigan has 3 on the ground. Stevie Scott, Indiana, has 4. That's it. Stevie Scott has 4.
10.
Second, and Ibrahim has 10. Yeah. So.
Yeah, he had 4 in one game. Minnesota by 3.5.
I was actually favored here by 3, which I find kind of interesting. I think, honestly, Minnesota's at home. I know, no fans. We've discussed this before. Iowa still has to travel. Minnesota's still going to be comfier not having to travel. So I give them something. I don't give them 3 points, 3.5, 4 like you would usually, but I think it's something. I think Minnesota realistically is at least as good coming into this year. Both teams just won their first game. I don't think there's any leg up there in Iowa's favor. I don't know. I honestly think Minnesota should win this game. If you wanted to lock it, I would. If I were betting real money, I straight up would not bet Big Ten football, period. But for our monopoly money, I'd be willing to bet Minnesota because I think Minnesota should win, let alone catching 3 points.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll lock it. I'll lock it. I like what Minnesota has. Ibrahim on the ground, I mean, the guy's unbelievable. I mean, the guy was good. We knew he was good. This year he came out. I don't know what happened. And maybe COVID got to him in a good way and, like, made him super running back. Like, he is Heisman Trophy super running back right now. Yeah. If this guy continues to do what he's done every week up through the rest of the year, he's going to win the Heisman. I know there's some good quarterbacks out there, but this guy, if you think nationally, how much has his name come up? It hasn't, but the guy put 220 yards on the ground last week and 4 touchdowns.
Well, the issue really is they're 1 and 2 as a team. That's realistically the big issue. He could win, Doak Walker, top running back, in college football, but it's kind of up to the team too, unfortunately, for Heisman Trophy talk.
No, this guy to me is one of the best players in the country.
Yeah.
And DraftKings believes that too, with the amount of money they're putting into him.
Yeah.
No, let's lock it. Let's lock it.
Sounds good. Minnesota +3 at home against Iowa. Got it in my little notebook here. Notebook as in computer notebook. But anyway, so, yeah, there we go. Saturday, moving on, noon Eastern time, start here, Indiana at Michigan State.
Indiana by 14.5.
We have Indiana by 7.5. So not as much love as you were thinking. Realistically, Indiana, 7.5 is tricky because it's obviously easy to win a football game by 7. Could Michigan State be down 14 with 2 seconds left and they score a touchdown just because and cover the spread? Sure. Indiana's defense isn't great. So I guess that gives Michigan State a chance to put up 13, 17 points. I still think Indiana scores, they could win 24-17, I suppose. And
yeah, I'm not locking this. I set 14.5. Just the way that the bettors have going and the way that the league has went this year, I'm like, well, maybe they'll go a little bit high because Indiana, they're ranked 10th in the country. Michigan State, they're 1 win against Michigan, and then you look at the other games, it's like, not very good. Yeah. So I could see Indiana blowing them out, but I could also see this happening to a team that's not used to winning and not used to being successful. And I'm not going to share a story because this show has went on probably longer than we wanted to. Past coaching experience, youngster, when you got a team that is not used to winning and all of a sudden they start winning, and all of a sudden they think they're good, and you play a team you should beat, guess what happens?
Right. You
go out and you lay an egg.
Right.
I've been there. I've been there as a coach. And you just put your hands in the air, and you're like, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? What are you doing against an inferior team? I've been there. I've been on the sideline saying that in my head.
A month ago in the NFL, I was watching an interview. I don't remember what show it was. It was some big show. And they were interviewing Josh Allen. And they were talking about how fantastic he is, Buffalo Bills, undefeated, Josh Allen MVP talk. Sure, why not? After the first month of the season, absolutely. It was warranted. And then I was thinking at the time, like, it's still only September. Quarterbacks traditionally put up monster numbers in September if they do, because the weather is warmer. It's not 30 degrees and snowing and blizzarding, and it's not 50-mile-an-hour winds in Buffalo, which it happens. That doesn't happen in September. It's warm. It's nice. Defenses don't have all the tape on exactly what offenses want to do for any given year. Sometimes quarterbacks have huge Septembers, and then they kind of trail off a little bit. Their numbers dip a little bit. So I wasn't buying too into Josh Allen, and then the next two games happen, and it's like, oh, here's Josh Allen that we're used to. They lost. Josh Allen's completing 50% of his passes. Like, so just. But
then he just put 400 up against the Seahawks.
Well, right. Honestly, at this point in his career, that's what he's done, is he's had huge games and he's had bad games. That's been Josh Allen. Some people say he's taken that next step. I'm still holding on that. This is a Big Ten show, so we're going too far off. But
all right, next game.
Yes. Anyway, Illinois at Rutgers, also at noon. This is an interesting one.
Woo! Could Rutgers get win number 2 and send Lovey to 0-4 in the COVID year? I think yes. I think Rutgers is going to do it. I want to say Rutgers by 3.5.
So you think Rutgers is favored? That's the big thing to me. It's like Rutgers is favored in a Big Ten football game. You said minus 3.5. Rutgers is actually favored by 7. They're favored to win a Big Ten game by a touchdown.
When's the last time Rutgers has been favored in a Big Ten game? I thought I was going off on a limb here. I thought I was going to be like Superman.
No, yeah, I know. That's.
And now I'm low. I'm low on the points.
Yeah, you're too harsh on Rutgers, Troy. Come on, give them some love. But seriously, I don't know if they have been favored yet as a Big Ten team. I honestly don't know if they have.
Maybe one time against Maryland, maybe one time against somebody else. But my God,
year one in the Big Ten at home against Maryland, maybe they were. I don't know. But yeah, they're a touchdown favorite at home against Illinois. I would bet Illinois here. And honestly, like I have to see it again to believe it. I give Rutgers credit for beating Michigan State week 1, but they still had 7 turnovers go their way. 7.
Yeah.
So I just hold on, give me one more win, Rutgers, and then I'll actually start believing that you're not literally the worst team in the Big Ten. Because I still remember a couple of years ago when Kansas killed you by 30, 40 points. That was Kansas football, and you got destroyed. Since then, you haven't proven that you're better, other than week 1 this year when you beat Michigan State by double digits. But again, they coughed the ball up 7 times. So I have to see it again to believe it. I just, call me crazy, call me a Rutgers hater, but seriously, I have to see it one more time. So I think Illinois straight up wins this game because I think they have more talent. I like Epstein on the ground. If they had Brandon Peters playing in this game, I'd easily love them. They don't because of COVID. But in any case, I still think Illinois wins this game. I just have to see Rutgers do it again before I consider them a touchdown favorite, no less. So I'd be willing to lock Illinois, but I'll let you go.
No, I'm not going to lock Illinois, youngster. I'm really not.
Damn.
I'm not impressed with Illinois in weeks 1, 2, and 3. I think Rutgers.
Not me either.
They're going to go play hard. They're going to play hard. and it's at home, and they beat Michigan State and haven't looked good in the 2 weeks prior to that, or after that. But no, not going to lock it.
So
I favored Rutgers. You asked me the point spread, and I gave Rutgers the favor, right?
Yeah.
I think so. You think Illinois? I think Rutgers will win. I do.
Okay.
Rutgers by 3.5. And you know when I take these spreads, a lot of times I'm thinking about who's going to win, how many points are going to win by. Then I got to bring in the Vegas betting odds.
Right. It's like if I were truly handicapping this game, I would say if I had to pick the spread, I would have probably leaned Rutgers as well by like 2 points. Because Illinois is without their starting quarterback. Rutgers is at home. They have one. Illinois look like garbage. But again, me guessing the spread is different than what I think is going to happen. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And I think you do the same thing.
That's why I'm off so many times. Okay, next game. I'm going to hit this one right in the head. Let's go.
I'll keep in mind our little Illinois-Rutgers pick there. Not a lock spread-wise, but just who wins straight up. Also, at noon, Penn State at Nebraska. 2 winless teams.
Oh, jeez. Penn State at Nebraska. Question will be who's going to start at quarterback for Nebraska. It's Monday, so we don't know who's the starting quarterback.
No,
Penn State on paper, youngster. In any other year, you'd be like Penn State by like 21.
Oh yeah.
But Penn State has not done crap. I said earlier they suck, and they do right now. You just got blown out by Maryland. But Nebraska's not any better.
Right.
I'm going to say Penn State by 6.5.
You're close. Penn State by 3.5. Little over a field goal.
Not
little
close.
Touchdown. It's for college. I consider because again, like it's more than a field goal. It's less than a touchdown. The NFL, I wouldn't say it's close.
There is no love for Penn State right now, though.
No, I know. But again, like you said, Penn State's favored by 21 points.
In a normal year, that's a 21-point game.
Yeah.
I think Penn State wins this game, though, youngster. I really do. I mean, come on now.
I think they do. I agree.
I know you got blown out by Maryland. Nebraska's in shambles, like you said. What is it? What is the actual line? 3.5 for Penn State?
Yeah.
I'm willing to lock Penn State.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not. We were 0-2 on Penn State the first 2 weeks, Troy, and then last week they just got killed by Maryland. So I'm not locking Penn State right now. I believe
the youngster putting his foot down. Putting his foot down against the old guy. Saying, no, not doing it.
No,
not doing it.
Not happening. No, keeping my Monopoly money safe there. Yeah, I can't do it with Penn State right now. Kind of like Rutgers, I need to see it. Penn State right now, I just need to see something. I need to see one win before I start locking things on the road. So,
all right,
that's just me.
Next game.
Anyway, I agree with you that Penn State should cover the spread, but I just won't lock it. 3 games left here. The only 3:30 Eastern game. It's very odd. Ohio State at Maryland.
Ohio State at Maryland. Ohio State by 29.5.
Again, pretty close. Ohio State 25.5. Yeah, locking this? No. Ohio State wins?
Nope.
Obviously.
For all the loyal listeners out there, you know when we start getting into 20-point spreads, the youngster and I usually shy away from that.
We might have done it like once or twice, but it's a rarity.
Yeah, in a cupcake game, literally in a cupcake game in the beginning of the year in weeks 1 or 2. I'm not going to do it in a Big Ten conference schedule. Last week is a prime example with Ohio State. That spread last week that we talked about with Ohio State was perfect. They should have won that game by that much. If you're looking at a betting line and you're looking at the game, yes, take Ohio State in the points because they should win by that. However, you have to take into consideration how good Ohio State is. And, oh, by the way, I'll have you say it one more time, youngster. What was the halftime score of the game last week at Ohio State?
It was 35-3.
35-3. So we're going to keep our foot on the gas, and boom, we're going to win 70-3. No.
Right. They were on pace to win by 64. It
doesn't happen.
Right.
They go out and they have a dominant first half. They play the starters for a series or two in the second half, maybe get another 7 points, and then your third stringers are in. And Rutgers put 27 points up. Rutgers has no business ever scoring 27 points against Ohio State. But right. And I'm not taking anything away from Ohio State. They let Rutgers score 27 points.
Yeah.
Their lead, let them score 27 points. And that's my problem with a 20-point or more spread. When these teams are that dominant, when the spread is that big, yeah, they could do it. But these coaches also have what do I want to say? Some decency. Like, we don't want to beat you 80-10. We don't want to.
This is not Ohio State, Michigan. There's a level of respect. And it's also not just respect, but like Ohio State could be up 32, and with 1 minute left, Maryland just, BS's their way into a touchdown drive against Ohio State's backups.
And you know what, though, Rutgers, you know what, Kevin? If this was a cupcake game, then yeah, I'll take Ohio State now, because if it's Ohio State against Troy State, yeah, they're going to run the score up, because guess what? They don't have to see this guy next year. They don't have to see this guy 2 years from now or 3 years from now. It's a conference game.
Or in college football, 11 years ahead.
Oh, yeah. But I'm going to go back, and I'll share quickly. I know our show is getting to the point. But when I coached, and when you coach against a team that you're going to see a lot of that's in the conference and you're much better, I don't want to see you take it easy on them. But you do. You have a respect for the other team. It's like, you know what? Okay, these guys are going to go in. But if it's a non-conference game, I'm going to let my people go play. Go get your stats. Go. That's the way it is, because in the conference, you see these guys. I don't think people realize, do these coaches interact? Yes, they do. I mean, at a high school level, I go see these coaches twice a year at coaches' meetings. I interact with them. I see them. I talk to them. I'm not saying we're friends, but we interact.
Right.
And you know what? There is a respect. Like, you know what? I know you're busting your buns to do great things for that program. I'm beating you in soccer 6-0. Okay, guess what? My second string, they're going in now. They're going in now. And then what's the final score? 6-3? Does my second team goes in? Who cares? I won the game.
Right.
We were better than you at the beginning of the game. And so that's why I don't like these big point spreads. I don't. Should Ohio State win by 27 points? Yeah, they should. But they're not playing their starters for 4 quarters. All right, carry on.
Probably true. 2 nighttime games, both at 7:30. Northwestern at Purdue. 2 undefeated teams.
Battle for first place in the Big Ten West.
Yes, it is.
I'm going to say Northwestern by 6.5.
It is Northwestern. Let me make sure here. Yes, Northwestern -3. So a little under. I'm trying to see here. I was just trying to check if Rondale Moore was supposed to be back, what the latest is on him. I don't think there's anything definitive at this point. That's the thing with this is there has been zero reason given as to why he is missing games. If it was just a straight NFL thing, which I would understand, but that would be known. Like, it would be known. If it was straight, I'm not going to play because of COVID, like, that would be known. It'd be out. That's what's weird about this, is that there's just zero information. about Rondale Moore missing these games. So I don't know if he's playing this year. I don't know if he's playing this week. I have no idea. Regardless, that'll be very interesting to see Northwestern's defense against this offense. I know there's probably, no Rondale Moore, but David Bell, who's a sophomore now, still proving that so far this year that he's going to be an NFL receiver. And I said before the year started that 1-2 punch, it compares well to Ohio State's 1-2 punch that also has 2 NFL receivers in Wilson and Olave. Those two are that good, Bell and Moore. So, to me, Purdue has the firepower to score 28 against Northwestern. Can Northwestern score 28 against Purdue's defense? Yeah, they can. This will be a very interesting, I think, good football game. I would not lock either way. I guess I would favor Northwestern, because of the defense, and I trust Northwestern's defense a lot more than I trust Purdue's defense. So I guess I would pick Northwestern to win, but it's certainly no lock.
I go with the coaching on this youngster. I go with Fitzpatrick on this, or Fitzgerald. Geez, I can't even get names right today. It's a car thing. The car thing. I just go with coaching in this youngster. I think Northwestern, the way the coaching is, and you look at the weird season with COVID, you've got to have, no matter if you're in business, no matter if you're in college sports, professional sports, this has been a weird year of sports. And when you have a guy that can control program, I give the advantage to Northwestern. Talent-wise, what do you look on paper? If we took roster by roster, you're going to give some pros to Northwestern, some pros to Purdue, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Maybe an evenly matched game. Where's the X factor? Coaching. I'll tell you this right now. I am surprised where Northwestern is 3 games into the season. Very surprised.
This offense was like bottom 10 in all of college football last year, and now they're putting up close to 30 a game, and they're allowing 12 a game. So it's night and day from last year.
You're right. Carry on. 1 game left if it happens.
Yes. Wisconsin at Michigan, 7:30 Eastern, ABC. Still not exactly sure about the Graham Mertz situation there.
Well, and that's the thing. The best, because it's a gray area, and there's a lot of things that are coming into play. So I'm going to go with this. Vegas line, I know what I would bet if Mertz I knew was the quarterback. Even as porous as Michigan is, Wisconsin going to Michigan, off for 2 weeks, I'm going to say they're favoring Michigan by 2.5.
Actually, I have to. It's actually not on the screen that I pull these games from. Hold on, I have to look up.
Well, there might not be a line. Wisconsin hasn't played for 2 weeks.
They haven't played for 2 weeks, and it's not exactly sure what the Mertz situation is. So, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if it's not. Okay, well, this is saying
it can't be bigger than that because Michigan sucks right now.
It's depending on where you look. One place had Michigan minus 1.5. This one has Michigan minus 3. Point being, Michigan's barely favored at this point. There's also
what did the old man just say, youngster? What did I just say?
I just saw this tweet that.
So I think I win. I think I win this one. Michigan minus 1, Michigan minus 3.5. I said Michigan by 2.5.
Yeah.
I got to get a win on this.
Oh yeah.
I haven't won the whole show.
No, you're good there. I'm seeing a tweet now that as long as the game is being played, Graham Mertz going to be cleared because that's 1 day before they're supposed to be cleared November 13th, which would be 1 day before the game. I don't know. I I still don't know if it's 100% sure. Some people, I guess, think it is. I'll say this, that if Graham Mertz is playing in this game, Wisconsin should win the game. They should be favored to win this game if he's playing. If he's not playing, Michigan should barely be favored, and Michigan wins a close one.
All right, because youngster, I'm gonna jump in as a Badger fan. If Mertz doesn't play, the Badgers get killed.
Okay.
I'm being real. They don't have a dominant running back. They don't have that dominant backfield. They don't have a Taylor. They don't have a Ron Dane. They don't have a James White. They don't have that dominant back. They've got a three-headed monster at running back, which is fine. It is productive.
Against Illinois, it wasn't even a monster. It was just, we've got three backs.
Productive. It was productive.
Right.
And it was good enough for Mertz to have play action. If Mertz doesn't play, you're talking about a third or fourth string quarterback playing against a Michigan defense that, as porous as it is played, has NFL talent.
Yeah.
They will blitz the heck out of that guy and stack the box. Am I wrong?
No, you're not.
If Mertz doesn't play, the Badgers lose by 20. If Mertz plays, they win the game.
I like
that
Wisconsin.
For a switch of change?
No, that's fair. I like Wisconsin's defense, and I'm not sold on Joe Milton. And the running game a week ago was not good at all. It was bad. So I could see Michigan struggling to score 17 points. That's what's interesting, I guess, to me, is you could see. I mean, if Mertz doesn't play,
did you watch the Cowboys-Steeler game yesterday at all, youngster?
I did not. I only followed it.
So this young man, Gilbert, I'll tell you what, he left it all on the field. He prepared. He was ready. He's ready to go in there and lead the Cowboys to the biggest upset in the world. Guess what the Steelers did to him in the third and fourth quarter? After the Cowboys were winning this game, they blitzed him. In the red zone. They hit him. Interception. Throws high. Throws low. Badgers have a third or fourth string quarterback in there. Guess what's going to happen?
Yeah.
What did Ezekiel Elliott do against that Steelers defense? Nothing. There's not a running back on the Badger team that's as good as Ezekiel Elliott against that Michigan front. It's going to be turnover, and when you have a short field, I don't care if you don't like Milton. I don't care if the running game didn't work. You turn the ball over in your half of the field, they're going to win by 20. But again, if Mertz plays, they will win the game. Badgers will win the game, hands down, because that defense is better. My problem is you keep your defense on the field and the offense doesn't help you, that defense, doesn't matter how good it is, it's going to get destroyed. That's all I'm going to say, youngster. When you don't have a quarterback that can control the clock and move the ball, doesn't matter how good your defense is. Short fields, time off the field. If you don't have Mertz, and I never thought I'd say this, you don't have Jack Cohn. You don't have him. I'm not a fan of his, but I wish we had him, because now you got a third or fourth string quarterback playing against Michigan that has a good defense. And it's not about the level of talent. It's about keeping your defense off the field so that they can stop the Michigan offense. Can they? Yeah, they can. I think Michigan can dominate that offense. Not if they're starting out on the field after 3 and outs every other time. That's my problem. Because you don't have a dominant running back that can get 5-6 yards of carry or first downs, and a quarterback that can consistently move the chains. That's my problem with the Badgers if Mertz doesn't play. I don't know if that made sense. That is coming from a true Badger fan.
No, it makes perfect sense, realistically. I'm with you 100% there. I don't disagree in your logic. And, you're right that, if you're turning the ball over, if you're giving Michigan short fields 10 times, then, yeah, eventually they're going to poke through with a couple touchdowns and a few field goals and, win the game 24-3. That's, that's not out of the realm of possibility. So, yeah, good points from you, old man.
I don't want it to happen. Believe me, I don't want it to happen. I want Graham Mertz to wake up on Friday and be COVID-free.
Right.
Michigan, and bam, they beat Michigan 42-10. There's my prediction if Mertz plays, 42-10.
Oh, that's a big one. 30-point victors. All right. I'll keep that in mind for next week's show.
All right. What else you got, youngster? I think we're done.
That is it. That is all I have. Very interesting slate of games this weekend.
All right. Word from the sponsor. You want to throw one last word for NRP Coffee out there, and then we'll let the listeners go?
Yes. Again, if you like coffee, if you hate coffee, you know someone who likes coffee, the holiday season is coming up. Check out NRPcoffee.com for not just coffee that you can buy with free shipping, by the way, but mugs, stuff of that nature, merchandise. So, if you know anyone, if you kind of know someone and you don't know what to get them and they like coffee, yada, 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 you get my point here. Go to NRPcoffee.com. Check out the selection they have. It's all free shipping. So it's an extra bonus. Nice local coffee company to check out.
Fans support NRP Coffee. Go to their website, NRPcoffee.com. For the youngster, I am the old man. Youngster, hopefully next show I won't be as bitter after I talk to an insurance company all day. But, we'll be recording our radio shows in about 2 days. So find us on Twitter at YoungsterOldMan. Hope you enjoyed the show today, everybody. For the youngster, I am the old man. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good week.